This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today it's going to be a spy who is trying to run with a briefcase from one destination to another destination. They're going from country to country, they're getting on a plane and they're taking off, and we're going to try to find which destination the spy is at, because cooperatively it's going to be one team versus the spy. Today we're looking at Destination X from Aporta Games, and it's for 2 or more players. So let me show you how it's played, and I'll see you on the other side. In this game, one player is going to be the spy. They're going to be given this handbook, and everybody else is given 3 of these informant cards that they'll keep secretly in their hand. 6 destination countries come out here. The spy will secretly choose one of these 6 countries and look for that country and bookmark it here in this book. So let's say we're the spy and we selected Iceland. Now there is a legend that comes in the rules that kind of tells you what each of these icons are, like highest to tallest mountain, biggest industry, the major religion, does it have a coast of that country, the type of government, things like that. This tells you what these icons mean, and so when that player's looking at this, they're going to be looking, as the other people ask questions, they're going to have the direct exact answers here that they must truthfully give. So let's show you how a round works. So the first player on the detective side will play a card, and it might say history. And so the spy is going to have to look up the history and say it to them. That player then picks up another card and refills their hand up to 3. There's only 16 of these cards in the game. Now in the back of the book it has some other information that you can help the detectives with, just to be honest. So they might say, well, what does history mean? You could say, well, it chooses one formative element from a country's past that's real big. Industries and agriculture, it will tell you what it's using. For religion, it gives you a little bit more information of what it's using for its official religion, things like that. And so for the history card, we look for that icon on the board here. And so again, the spy would be holding this secretly, and they would say, history was not occupied during World War II. Now, the detective side has 2 choices. They can either attempt to eliminate one of these countries by flipping it over, or if they know the answer, they could say, we're guessing we know which country is yours, is your destination. In this case, this is a tricky one, because I'm not sure, I'm not a history buff, but I'm not sure I think all these countries were not occupied at World War II. But anyways, let's just say that they goes, you know what, we're going to eliminate Belize. We just don't think you're there. So we flip that over. Now, if that was the country the spy was in, the spy would say, end of round, you just lost, I was in Belize. They would get 1 point. They would keep this card for a point. Otherwise, we keep going. The game goes till one side has 3 points. Now, we would continue doing this. They would pick a card from their hand. They would put it down here. I would give them answers, and they would continue to either eliminate or guess. And maybe they get down to here, and then they get a question, and then they guess, and they say, you know what, we think you're in Iceland. If they're correct, they get this. If not, then I get this. And then after that's done, all these would get removed. 6 new ones would come out, and then we just continue playing this till one side has 3 cards. Now the tricky part is, there's only one of each of these types of cards. There's only 16. So as the game goes on, if they've run out of cards completely and there's none left, everyone continues to play until they have no cards left. Once everyone has no cards left, they basically get one last guess. So it's sort of a timer for the game as well. Whoever wins first 3 rounds first is the winner. Now, some of the answers you'll only give a certain amount of information. For example, for the capital, if it's underlined, that's all you say. So you would say the capital starts with R. Or if it's religion, you would say just Christian. You wouldn't say Protestant Christian. Or money, you'd say the money starts with K because it's kroner. So things like that. Also beware that the amount of area is in kilometers squared, and highest things are in meters. So North Americans might have trouble with the conversion there, but it is what it is. Everything else is pretty much in English. Now there's a few variants. If you're playing with more than 6 players, nobody gets cards in their hand. 4 of them are here, and when it's a player's turn as a detective, they get to select one of these cards. Let's say they say agriculture, we give them the answer, maybe they eliminate one, and maybe it's okay, we go to the next person. The next person would just draw a card from the top of the deck and replace that. Now there's a couple variants to the game. If you're playing with more than 6 players, the detectives themselves don't get 3 cards each. There's just 4 face up in the middle of the table. When it's a detective's turn, they select one of these 4 cards, like, hey, does it touch the Pacific coast? We'd get the answer, and a spy would, they might guess and say, you know what, I'm going to eliminate, one of these, Togo. Okay, well, you're okay. The next card would come out, and then the next player gets to select from these 4. This is good with a lot of players, and it gives the spy a little bit more information of what's out there when they're selecting a new country. And you can also make it harder by taking out all the cards that have these blue stars on them, which gives up a lot of information. And you can replace them ones with red stars, which are harder for them to figure out. All right, well, there's Destination X. Let's first talk about the things that I do like about the game. Now, this is a party-style game. It's basically a fun activity for the whole family. You might not even call this a quote-unquote game. It might even be considered an activity, but it's one that if you like those lighter style party games, I think you might like this. I kind of thought about this in conjunction with, say, a game called Timeline. If you ever played it, where people are trying to figure out where to slot things in. And again, that's not really a game either. It's more like an activity. And I would put this in the same realm of that, where it's educational. You're trying to figure things out. You're working together. You're talking about your knowledge. So it is an interesting family activity for the whole family. Now, when I played this game, it reminded me a lot of the game I used to play as a child, actually on the computer. Then there was a TV show about it called Carmen Sandiego, or Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? And as a kid playing the computer game, you'd try to figure it out. They'd give you hints about, oh, well, which country would they be in? Here's 3 possible choices, and they start giving you clues about the country, and you're trying to figure it out. And I felt like this was sort of like a grown-up, family-level, cooperative game version of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. In fact, it would have been cool if they had maybe even tried to get the IP of that to here and then blow this thing out in the mass market. That's where I think this game really deserves to go. It plays a wide range of players, from 2 to 6 it says, but I played it with 10 and it worked absolutely fine because there's a variant that I showed you at the end, which is really cool. In fact, I actually prefer the variant. More about that in just a moment. But that variant where instead of everyone getting 3 cards, holding it secretly, and then playing the card and having the spy answer, you have the 4 cards face up, and I think that's better because everyone can talk about it. Everyone can say, oh, well, you know what, we might want to pick this one, but of course you get the final say. I like that variant better. More about that in just a moment. The game is educational, which is always fun with games, but again, it lends itself being to more of an activity than a game, but it is educational. You actually do learn things about countries and such, like even weird things like GDP or religion or this and that. You learn different things about countries, and it's pretty interesting. Plus, there's a ton of countries in here. There's well over 100 in here, tons of them. Now, the open variant, I think, is better for the spy. And now we're going to start getting into sort of some of the cons. So now that open variant I mentioned is better for the spy because I really feel like this game could easily have had an app and been where the spy is actually the app. Because in this game, when you're the spy, you don't really have a whole lot. There is a little bit you can do, but you're more like a glorified moderator. You're basically picking a country and then answering a question, whatever they ask you. So your decisions are basically, when you pick a country, that's pretty much it. Now, if everyone's holding the cards in their hands, all you kind of know is, well, which of the 16 cards did they use before? I know it can't be those. I can look at the cards and say, well, this is left and this is left. Which countries are similar enough that they might be confounded with each other? But I don't know. I didn't think it was that interesting to be the spy at all. Now, when you play the variant and the cards are out there, those 4 cards are out there and 6 new countries come out, you can look at the cards there going, I know these are going to be the next things they have. Now I can look at these countries and see, okay, which makes sense here? Which is going to be a harsh one to figure out based upon the cards I can see? And that was a lot more interesting for the spy. And in the end, it still wasn't great. It was okay. I think if the more you know about countries and geography and things like that, the more interesting that would be for the spy. But I still think, I don't know. I talked to the publisher a little bit about it, and they seem to think that, it's more fun trying to be the person than an app. Yeah, maybe, but I still think that having someone just be a glorified moderator, I think they would have more fun working together trying to figure it out. Plus, you could have multiple levels of the app where it could talk about, hey, it knows what 4 cards are out there, it knows what countries are there. It would have very ranging of difficulties as which country to pick because it knows which ones are closest based upon the cards. I just really think this should have been an app for the spy and everybody else is cooperative. I think that would have made it better, because being the spy, quite honestly, is not that interesting. Also, second con is Americans might struggle with the metric system. Now granted, I agree, we should have went to the metric system a long time ago. It makes so much sense, it scales well, but we're not. And so when everything in this is English related, and then everything is in kilometers and meters, they're going to have to do some calculations, and that can slow things down, and it takes the experience down a little bit just for Americans. But other than that, I think it's a good game. So overall, if you're looking for a family level activity where everyone can talk and have fun, the more players, the better I found with this, because a lot of people collaborate and you learn stuff. So overall, I think it's good. I can recommend it if you're looking for a fun activity. Many of the people I played this with at work liked it. They wanted to play with their families. It has mass market appeal, and that's Destination X.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.